Good morning and welcome to your Fast Track to 7. I'm Tatum Miller.
And I'm Alex Larson.
A man is behind bars in the Clay County Jail for allegedly causing a deadly crash on Highway 75 over the weekend. Minnesota State Patrol says the crash happened on Saturday just before 7 p.m. when 28-year-old Christopher Pink of Moorhead was driving a pickup northbound in the southbound lane of Highway 75, colliding head-on with a Jeep driven by 43-year-old Jennifer Watson of Ennis, Texas.
Watson was killed in that crash, and Pink arrested for charges of negligent homicide and driving under the influence. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he's willing to give up his position for peace in Ukraine.
The Ukrainian president made the remarks during a press conference in Kyiv on Sunday, adding that he would also be willing to resign from his post in exchange for NATO membership. Zelensky's offer is a major concession amid an ongoing public dispute with President Donald Trump, which escalated last week when Trump suggested that the Ukrainian president was responsible for starting the war.
When asked about President Trump, Zelensky said the two leaders are partners and he wants Trump by Ukraine's side.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has delayed the release of approximately 600 Palestinian prisoners and detainees. Their release was a part of the final prisoner and hostage exchange of the first stage of the ceasefire deal.
In a post on X, Netanyahu says the delay was due to Hamas's, quote, repeated violations, including the ceremonies that would humiliate the hostages. He adds the prisoners and detainees would not be freed until the release of the next hostages has been assured. And without the ceremony, other returning hostages have undergone in Gaza before their release. Unclear right now what Israel's decision means for the future of that deal, though.
Prayers continue for Pope Francis as he battles double pneumonia.
According to the Vatican, the Pope remains in critical condition with some blood tests indicating initial mild renal insufficiency. But at present, it is under control. Vatican also sharing the 88-year-old Pope has presented no further respiratory crisis since Saturday night and had a tranquil night following a blood transfusion and oxygen therapy.
The Vatican says Pope Francis continues to be alert and well-oriented, and he participated in Holy Mass, together with those who are caring for him during these days of hospitalization.
Time now is 6:56 a.m. We are taking a jump outside with this beautiful sunrise behind us and some pretty warm temps.
I was going to say temperatures finally matching what we're seeing outside, and with all the details, here's meteorologist Lisa Green. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning. Yes, it's been so nice to see that sun come up earlier, and we are able to step outside and take it in for a few more minutes without freezing first, because temperatures are much milder. In fact, speaking of freezing, most of us spent the night above freezing, so the melting process has continued overnight. Looking at our temperatures, we're at 35 degrees currently in Fargo. Some of us in the upper 30s, Jamestown, Grand Forks at 38 degrees, and some spots not on our list here, but the Baudette area at 41 degrees right now, so still in the 40s there. Wind is out of the west for most areas, and we do have some gusts into the 20s, so there is a little bit of a wind chill factor. One we can handle, though. It feels more like the 20s in a lot of spots, so keep that in mind for today. But taking a look at our planner, temperatures are very at the tippy top of what we could expect here for today, because we're looking at some low 40s for highs, and that wind does stay brisk, especially during this first half of the day. Increasing clouds, and places south of I-94, closer to that North Dakota, South Dakota line, do have a chance for a little bit of rain or light drizzle here for today. So keep that in mind for anybody in that region. We'll have some off and on light chances for precip through the work week. Our best chance will be on Friday, some rain and potentially some snow too with some wind. So that's the one to watch. But these small rounds also could impact us, especially with our overnight lows for the rest of the week dropping below freezing. We could be seeing icy conditions in the morning, melting during the day, and then back below freezing at night. And then moving into March, you can see those temperatures stay mild, but not quite 40s as we kick off the weekend. Still going to be on the mild side. And you can keep an eye on these temperatures on the VNL weather app.
Yeah, not too bad. Thanks, Lisa. We got a consumer alert for you this morning. Lions Magnus recalling 4-ounce Lions Ready Care and Cisco Imperial frozen supplemental shakes over possible listeria contamination.
The shakes were distributed to long-term care facilities and were not for retail sale. This is linked to a bigger recall of products from the company's supplier, Prairie Farms Dairy.
According to the FDA, the strain of listeria the products may contain has been associated with at least 38 illnesses and 11 deaths. Meanwhile, egg prices are continuing to surge across the U.S., which is starting to impact local bakeries. The egg shortage is tied to the bird flu, which has infected flocks across the country.
Some bakeries say they're now paying more than double the price from a year ago. Other bakeries say they might have to start using so-called egg replacers. Well, the Today Show and CBS Mornings are just about to start, but the Valley Today rolls on.
We have more live up-to-the-minute news and weather coming up right now on the Fargo CW. If you are heading out the door, though, it is relatively warm, but remember, we are still in February. A little cold out there, too. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm Alex Larson.
And I'm Tatum Miller. Enjoy those temperatures and take care.